A few videos ago, I presented the ultimate map of carryover for the most popular habit out there. That map focused on the positive effects. This week, it is time for the counterpart of that very map. What is the worst habit to leave out in the long run? Unintuitively, it is not a complete mirror of the other map, as countless habits and practices satisfy deficit needs. Other habits like meditation can have open-end benefits. However, it is crucial to have the deficit needs covered before you focus on the other things. Let us now find out what are the worst habits ranked by an actual scientific metric, namely the carryover score, and not hearsay only. But before we begin, here is a frame of reference of self-improvement. All the entries on this map are things that people the age 15 to 35 and maybe beyond are interested in. All the things there are something you can get good at. To the left, we have shallow attainments that people typically start with, and the more we come to the right, the deeper the colors get, and the more profound the displayed practices and habits are. Okay, but let us now focus on those things that invoke the most interest among young people and analyze the negative carryover score of those habits. We begin with weight loss. Every arrow that starts at weight loss and finishes at another habit represents a positive carryover. When you start losing weight, things like lifting or endurance become easier. Your nutrition automatically profits. Your finances get better as your medical costs, for example, decrease. It will be easier to maintain social relationships, and it's easier to have good mental health and physical health. And all other things benefit to a degree too. Every arrow also has a weight, but the actual influence has been covered in another video. You can check out those videos if you really want to know the detailed carryover of each of those practices. The next thing we focus on is lifting weights or exercising in general. Again, it has lots of positive effects, but just as many negative effects when you leave it out. We have an evolutionary duty to move to some degree. It is a very bad idea to leave that out. Your dating will suffer, your endurance will suffer, your weight loss will suffer as your total daily energy expenditure gets lower and lower, and it's much easier to store excess fat in your body. More or less, everything on this map suffers to a degree, even your friends, family and partner, and especially your health. As mentioned, it is very important to move a bit every day, as it is our evolutionary duty. Again, instant gratification detoxes like NoFap or other practices also have countless negative effects when you ignore them. When everything you do revolves around instant gratification like scrolling or watching pornography or playing video games, you have no time to pursue other more beneficial habits. And this is a near-death sentence for self-improvement. Instant gratification spirals out of control fast, and we become addicted to it. It is very much in line with our evolutionary programming, but the context changed so much that it malfunctions to a degree, and we have to train ourselves in abstaining from it. The next entry revolves around nutrition, and this is a big one. When you ignore your nutrition and only start eating garbage and junk food and fast food and other unhealthy items that taste very good but are ultimately unhealthy, a lot of areas on this map suffers. Starting with your health, with your social relationships, confidence, discipline, and especially your weight, and all other things. When your nutrition declines and you frequently make bad choices about eating unhealthy things, your willpower also decreases, and you are more inclined to choose instant gratification habits that yield some form of pleasant immediate effect. After that, we analyze the negative effects on personal finances if you leave them out. And this is also a very big one. It practically negatively impacts all the things out there, maybe except for video games, as those are often cheap, but you still need a PC, for example, to play them on, and you do need money to afford a PC. Many people have at least that much, but again, it's not for granted. Further, your social relationships, for example, suffer. I can vividly remember how much I hesitated to go on a field trip with my class when I was young and poor, since that meant a financial burden for my family, for example. And it's also much harder to maintain good mental health and physical health when you have little money you can spend. The next thing is your social relationships. When you ignore those, you also have a problem. Evolutionarily speaking, we need social relationships. We evolved in groups of people, and our chances of survival were much better when we were in a large group of people. Thus, everything on this map pretty much suffers when we leave it out. Our confidence declines, our status declines, we will start having problems in our job or university, our finances typically suffer, and all the other more hobby-related things like lifting or weight loss or nutrition even also suffer. Even your casual hobbies suffer, as you need other people to pursue them. The next thing on the map is your mental and physical health. When those decline, you have a real problem. Everything, there is nothing positive on this map. Everything that comes from bad mental health poses a problem. You cannot pursue meditation, you can't really have good and stable relationships, you will likely overeat, you don't pursue lifting and good nutrition, instant gratification is likely a main goal of yours, and many other things decline. It is a very bad idea to ignore mental health for long. The same is true for physical health, and both of them are deeply intertwined. They are more or less the same. When the mental health declines, the physical health declines. And when the physical health declines, your mental health will follow after, as you will worry all the time about your physical health. And lastly, we have meditation. Meditation is the one habit that has an open end when it comes to benefits. But when we go by the average person in our population, meditation isn't that bad to leave out. It has tons of negative effects and things that could be much better, thus it was the king of all positive habits, but it is likely not the king of negative habits or the arch enemy to leave out. There are negative effects when it comes to confidence and discipline and willpower and all other things on this map. But compared to the average person, it is not so bad. But let us now insert all the negative carryover scores. And as you can see here, mental health, for example, has a tremendously big negative carryover score. Just like, for example, friends and family and partners. I always group them together. Also, your weight loss is pretty bad, your finances are bad, your nutrition is bad, and many other things also have a pretty big negative carryover score. But let us now come to the most important points. Well, oftentimes it is much worse to leave out something normal than to cultivate something good. I choose carryover to measure the overall negative results of all the habits on the frame of reference of self-improvement. And the higher the number of outgoing arrows was, the higher the benefit. Keep in mind that many of the habits introduce deficits or try to compensate deficits compared to normal, while some habits are beyond that, like meditation. Meditation has open-end benefits. You can pretty much get a lot of good results from meditation and not just fix a deficit. And the bottom 5 directly influenceable habits that have the worst carryover score are mental health, weight loss, finance, social relationships, and nutrition or abstaining from instant gratification. They share the spot 5. And all the habits are deeply intertwined with each other. And every habit has more than one negative effect in that case, just as many habits also have more than one positive effect. And based on carryover, we can make a legit objective decision on what is worst. And we did that in this video. And the king of worst things that can happen to you with a negative carryover score of 15.5 is mental and physical health. Do your very best to avoid bad mental and physical health. Okay, and that's pretty much it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to leave it a thumbs up and maybe subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you like it, I know that I should produce more of this style of content. And if you feel like I missed something, feel free to leave a comment so myself and other people can benefit from your wisdom. But until then, I wish you a pleasant day and goodbye.